parked my truck, walked down to the tree stand. I wasn't going to hunt. I just wanted to fix my tree stand. But I did have my rifle with me. I had a 300 Magnum with me, and I got that weird feeling again. I see what looks like a tree standing about 5 feet off the shore in the water. And right then and there, I knew something just wasn't right. And all of a sudden, the tree, well, she turned her hips and she stared me down. She looked at me. It was a female. She had to have been, I don't know, 4.5 feet wide, her shoulders.
This is the Cryptid Creature Show. I am Brian, and with me as always, my co-host Todd. What's up, buddy?
Brian, tonight we're bringing on Jay, and Jay's had an encounter or two, I believe, with a Bigfoot, and I think he's had a dogman encounter as well.
Ooh, exciting.
But also, we're having a co-host with us tonight.
We are.
Lee from Geek Mountain's coming back on.
That's right. That's always exciting. We've had Lee on a couple times.
Yeah. He likes to ask the questions, and we just kind of kick back and let him do his thing, which is nice.
We let him do it.
He's going to come on co-host with us tonight and talk to Jay.
And that is one of the perks of being a member of our Patreon.
Right, the Bigfoot level. So
that's right.
If you guys are on that level, you can, a few times a year, come on and co-host with us and interview our guests. Right. So check that out if you're interested on our Patreon. There's different levels on there as well, too. Not just that level, so.
Yeah, not just that one. There's a few. So check it out.
All right, well, let's bring Lee on first and get him going, and then we'll bring Jay on and talk to him. Are you ready?
Yep, let's get him.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Lee, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
Doing just hunky-dory and fine. Nothing new.
Cool. What's new with Geek Mountain?
It's just trucking. I'm working on the Geek Expo, my Smoky Mountain Geek Expo, so it's taken up a lot of the time. And so when people ask me, so how's your day going? And I'm like, I got no idea. My day is just making shirts and promoting the thing. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So you're staying busy.
Very
awesome, man. That's great.
Well, that's good.
Very, very
good to hear.
Yeah, for the listeners again, tell them about your store, Geek Mountain, and everything.
So Geek Mountain is a geek pop culture-esque type of store. I deal with a lot of monsters and comics and cryptids and apparel, artwork, soaps. You guys have seen it. You sit next to me for 2 years in a row now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
And where are you located at? Are you online?
I'm in Canton, North Carolina.
Okay. And do you have an online store as well they can go to?
No, I took it down.
Okay.
I took it down because of a lot of the products that I sell is done by other artists and authors and people like that. And I'm not going to compete against them online. That would just be kind of a dick move on my point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're my friends. I don't want to take business away from them.
Sure. Well, right. It's great to hear that you're staying busy. Are you going to be at CryptidCon this year again?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see you there, neighbor.
We'll probably be right next to you again.
Spot. So
yeah. I have no plans of not going to CryptidCon. I mean, it's one of my best conventions I do each year.
Good. Yeah, we like it too.
Yeah, that's why we keep going back.
It's a great time. So for the listeners, that's November 22nd and 23rd this year in Lexington, Kentucky at, what's the name? Clarion Hotel and Convention Center.
Yeah.
Clarion Hotel and Convention. All three of us.
Just down the street from Cracker Barrel and that other in that other steakhouse.
Yeah. But anyway, great having you on again, man. We're going to bring on our guest here in a minute, but we wanted to talk to you real quick first before we brought him on, touch base with you and see how things are going and all that stuff. So cool having you back on. Thanks for being a Patreon member on our Bigfoot level and hanging out with us and co-hosting tonight. So
heck yeah.
I like co-hosting.
We like it too. We don't have to do as much.
We
work.
enjoy it. That's right. We can just sit back and listen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got Jay coming on, and he had several Bigfoot encounters, I think, in New York and North Carolina. So we'll get him on. We'll get him rolling into it. Jay, thanks for being on the show with us tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me, Todd. I appreciate it.
It's me and Brian and Lee here talking to you. Say hi, guys.
Okay. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
So we know you've had some encounters and experiences going on. Tell us where those happened at.
Yes. I come from a logging family. I live in upstate New York, up in the Adirondacks, and I literally, from our property, I could walk across the border into Canada. My sister owns 300 acres. My father owns 250. Other family members own tons of land, and we've had activity on this land for a long time. My mother's seen them. My wife has seen them. My sisters. I didn't have an encounter down there until 2001. I was muzzleloader hunting. It was muzzleloader season, and I decided to go for a hunt. And I parked my truck, and it's about a mile and a half walk back to the tree stand I was sitting. Well, I was planning on sitting. So I sit in the tree stand, and I'm sitting there, and nothing. But there was an eerie presence of there was no sound. I didn't hear anything, and it was kind of eerie. So I decided to get out of there. It was starting to get dark, and I had to start getting back anyway. Like I said, it was at a mile and a half back to my truck. So I had my muzzleloader on my shoulder. I started walking back to the truck, and my father keeps an old skidder down there, an old log skidder from like the 50s. It's old. And I get about, 60 feet from that, and I see a head pop out from the front end of the skidder. And it had big amber eyes. And I was like, okay, it's kind of strange. But, I know I can pretty much identify anything in the woods, but that's kind of odd. So I didn't think anything of it at that point. I kept walking. So as I'm walking, I get closer. I get about 40 feet away, and then again, a head pops out. And this time, a hand came around the front end of the skidder. I could see all 5 digits. I could see the face, and then it disappeared behind the skidder again. And at this point, I'm getting kind of nervous because I don't know what I'm looking at. And the skidder is about 15 feet long, and this is going to blow your mind, this part. There was 2 logs lined up horizontally to me, okay, and they were about 15 feet apart. The first log was about 15 feet from the nose of the skidder. Well, this thing jumped out from behind the skidder, hit that first log, okay, and it didn't, when it jumped from the first log to the second log, it didn't bend, it didn't squat down to launch itself off its legs. It didn't swing its arms when it jumped. The best way I can put this is it propelled off the tip of its toes. It was amazing. I've never ever seen anything like that. It propelled itself off the tip of its toes and off the front half of its foot. It went from that first log to the second one, boom. Then it jumped again, boom. Another 15 feet, the same way. Went behind a tree, and I'm frozen. At this point, I'm frozen. I didn't know what to think. And all of a sudden, the thing peeks out from behind the tree and comes out, stands in front of the tree. And my first thought, it was short. It was a juvenile. It was about, I would say, a little bit under 5 feet, but the thing weighed, I would say, 185, 200 pounds. And when I talk about this encounter and I tell people what I think it weighed, they'll say, "Oh, that's small." Well, I can assure you, if you see a Bigfoot that's under 5 feet tall, it's pretty jacked. It's pretty well put together, So it's standing there in front of the tree, and I just want everyone out there to know I'm not pro kill unless you're defending yourself. I had no intentions of shooting this thing, but it's standing there in front of the tree, bobbing back and forth, just staring at me. We're eyes sizing each other up, sort of, So I did pick my muzzleloader up. I wanted to get a closer look at this thing. And because my first thought was, is somebody's pet orangutan loose? Because this one did look a little bit apish, and it had the color. It was an auburnish brown, red type deal. Hair was it wasn't, you hear about matted hair out there with certain encounters, and this thing, the hair had looked like it had been groomed. It really looked like it had been groomed. And it's bobbing back and forth, and I lifted my muzzleloader. I wanted to get a better look at it through the scope. As soon as I brought the muzzleloader up to get a look at it, didn't the thing put its arm over its face? It jumped behind that tree again. That was the standing tree, and it was gone. I don't know if it picked an angle where I couldn't see it run away, or if it did that thing they do where they lay down on the ground and they flatten out, because they're notorious for that. You know, they're lay down on the belly and lay motionless, so they aren't noticed. So I don't know if it did that or if it took off. So it took a while to process what I had seen, and you know, it did ruin my hunting for a while. You know, for about 2 years, and I didn't have another encounter until 2007, and that was the extremely scary encounter. I was in the same spot, parked my truck, walked down to the tree stand. I wasn't going to hunt. I just wanted to fix my tree stand, but I did have my rifle with me. I had a 300 Magnum with me. And it was over my shoulder. I climbed up in the tree stand after I'd fixed the stairs, and I'm sitting there, and there's a nice buck in the area I wanted to harvest. And I said, okay. I said, and I got that weird feeling again. I said, this is getting kind of weird. And all of a sudden I heard a deep beller, between a beller, a scream, and a growl. And I said, okay, what was that? I'm like, I got to get out of here. So I climbed out of the tree stand, and to get to my truck on the logging road, you have to walk by, there's a big natural artesian spring. And as I'm coming around the bend to that spring, I see what looks like a tree standing about 5 feet off the shore in the water. And right then and there, I knew something just wasn't right. So I took a few more steps, got a few feet closer, and all of a sudden the tree, well, she turned her hips and she stared me down. She looked at me. It was a female. She did have breasts. The most impressive part about her was the buttocks and the hips. Just amazing. Like the legs like tree trunks. Her shoulders. She had to have been, I don't know, 4.5 feet wide. Her shoulders. She was also an auburnish color, like a brownish auburn. Her head was not conical like you would think. It was in between conical and round, in between. So we're sitting there staring at each other, and I'm in awe. I'm petrified at this point. And I do have like I said, I had my rifle. I had my rifle slung over my shoulder, and I saw her eyeballs, her big black eyes. I'm about 30 feet away. I saw her big black eyes look at the barrel of my rifle. Okay. And they know what guns are. That's for sure. That's a fact. And as soon as she looked at the barrel of that rifle, she turned her eyes back towards me and looked me directly in the eye. Now, I didn't get any mind speak or anything like that. Nothing like that. But have you ever seen the movie Tombstone?
Yep. Pretty sure we all have.
Yeah, remember the part where Wyatt Earp slaps the guy and he says, you going to skin that smoke wagon or stand there and bleed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Billy Bob Thornton he was talking to.
That was Billy Bob Thornton, yes. She gave me a look just like that. You going to skin it or just stand there? And that's exactly what her eyes read to me. And they kind of also said, and if you decide to skin that smoke wagon and take a crack, I will get to you before you have a chance. If you don't, I'll go my way, you go your way. So there was no, even if I wanted to get my rifle off my shoulder and shoot her, which I had no intentions of, unless, she charged me or something, I was going to try to defend myself, which I don't think I was able to. she just, I don't know if it would have put her down. I had no intention of shooting her, but like I said, I don't know if it would have put her down. But at that point, there's something very weird that happened. And I've only talked to one other guy who's experienced this, and it wasn't with a Sasquatch, it was with a dogman. Now, from the, you know how sharks have that nictitating membrane that come over their eyes when they take a bite out of prey?
Yeah.
Okay. From the bottom of her eyes, something flickered about 5 times at me. And it was almost like one of those nictitating membranes. People are going to think I'm crazy and say I was seeing things or whatnot, but I know what I saw. And that just blew my mind. And for, since 2007 now, I've been trying to gather up reports and witnesses and talk to other researchers that that have seen that, but I've only been able to find one other individual, and it was with a dogman. So she turns her head, turns her whole body, turns her hips, hops out of the water, takes 3 leaps, okay? 3 leaps. After she was gone, I got out of there. I wasn't going back there alone. I grabbed 4 of my buddies, all the weapons. We went down the next day, and we found her tracks where she had jumped out of the water and leaped away. She went 63 feet in 3 leaps. So that's the most impressive thing with these creatures to me, entities, whatever you want to call them, forest people, whatever. The athleticism is unbelievable. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. And that, being such an intimidating encounter, that also ruined my hunting for another 2 or 3 years. I didn't go back in the woods after that for another 3 years, to work up the courage to go back. So yeah, that was the second encounter,
Now, you said that you were carrying a muzzle loader?
The first encounter, correct. The juvenile. 50 caliber. 50 caliber.
Okay. Just the regular muzzle. Yeah. I was just curious.
Did she look more human or ape-like to you, or what?
The juvenile looked more ape-like. The female looked somewhere a cross between an ape and an ancient hominid. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Not modern day human, but like ancient hominid mixed with an ape. I mean, and the next encounter I'm going to tell you about looked even more different. So yeah, they all look different. It just that last encounter was extremely, extremely intense. We still have crazy activity down there now. But they've come to, in that certain spot, I have lots of places I research up here. I have a couple spots that I get real good action in, but the ones on our property, I think they've gotten used to us over the years. They don't bother us. Now, the other 2 places I research pretty hard up here, you can almost feel the tension in the air. These are 2 aggressive groups. So people that think that these things can't get aggressive are highly, highly mistaken. They get very aggressive if they don't want you there. I'm sitting at the side of a river one night, and I'm just waiting for it to get dark, and I heard a vocalization way, way off in the distance, and I heard one behind me answer it. All of a sudden, I look straight up in the air, and there's a boulder coming my way. It lands directly in front of where I was sitting in the water, and it was thrown so high and so hard you could hear it hitting the rocks in the bottom of the river. All of a sudden, one comes from the right side. Boom! It's the same exact spot. So that was my cue to get out of there. That was in a place called Scary, New York, up here, and it's scary. But so they can get very aggressive. I think a lot of people, think if they have how do I want to say this? If they have an easygoing group that's used to them, they think they're all like that, but they're not. They're not. they mostly want to just keep it themselves and keep away. That's what I found through my research over the last 25 years. Yeah, so I've got the family land, and then, you know, a couple other spots up there I hit hard. I don't feed them. I think that's unfair to them.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Black Friday deals are going on all month long. Save up to 45% off site-wide, plus an additional 10% off every order right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
You know, what happens if, you know, you start feeding these things? Okay. They get used to it. Something happens to you. Someone buys your house and they don't know about this. And these things will get extremely ugly. I worked on a case one time where that happened to a gentleman, a guy I went to high school with, actually constantly busting my chops about Bigfoot. You know, there's no such thing, crazy, blah, blah, blah. Well, his grandmother lives out near this spot in the place I was just telling you about, Scary, New York. And she passed. She left him the house. So he calls me one day, and he's out of his mind. And he's wondering why he's got 7 to 9 foot hairy creatures running around his house screaming, looking in the windows. Well, come to find out, we didn't find out until after. We went and talked to his dad. His grandmother had been feeding this group for over 30 years. So when he cut them off, you know, he didn't know about it. So he inadvertently cut them off of the food, and they got ugly. They got ugly real quick. So that's why I don't feed them. I know a lot of people do and whatnot, and that's their prerogative. I don't. I think it can get dangerous real quick. It'd be just like feeding, you know, leaving food out for a grizzly or something, you know. They're going to get really upset when you cut them off. So, yeah, and in 2016, I don't know if you want to hear this part, but my wife saw the alpha male. We built a cabin down on that piece of property. And while we were building it, we were staying in my camper at the time, down on the land. And she went blueberry picking one day. And she got to the blueberry patch, and she said she was just picking away, having a good time. And all of a sudden, this thing stands up. It was about 8 feet away from her, and she never saw it. That's how elusive they are, and that's how well they camouflage themselves. It stood up. They looked at each other. It turned around and walked away. It walked under a limb. Which is, I'll come back to that in a second. A very high limb. Well, I heard the 4-wheeler pull up outside I'm working on the cabin. I hear the 4-wheeler pull up, and she's white as a ghost. I said, "You saw one, didn't you?" And she says, "Yes, I did." I said, "Take me where you saw it." So she brought me onto the blueberry patch and showed me, and she's like, "It walked under that limb right there." And I'm looking up at the limb, and it's about, my guesstimation is 10 foot. It was about 10 feet. You know, she said when this thing went under the limb, when it walked away, it only cleared it by about 3 inches. So this thing was all of 10 feet tall. All of 10 feet tall. And, you know, we still see his tracks, and he leaves 19 his tracks. He's just a beast. You know, she said his shoulders had to have been 5.5 feet wide. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention, I think, you know, their shoulders are extremely wide, massive, but the most impressive part, aside from the buttocks area, is how thick they are from front to back. You know, depending on the individual, it's going to be anywhere from 2 to 3 feet from front to back. You know, back to chest. It's just absolutely incredible. So then we moved to North Carolina for a couple of years, and my wife's mother is from down there, so we moved down there, and still had the cabin up here. It was all finished, so we moved for a while for a change of scenery. And I talked to a research partner of mine, and I told him the town we were moving to, and he goes, "Oh my God, Jeremiah!" He goes, "I spent a month there doing research. That is a hot area. for Dogman and Bigfoot. I said, really? He said, oh yeah. So about 4 miles down the road from the house we were renting, we were in right on the town limits where the village ends and the town begins, and it turns into woods. And there's an old train, an old train track, it's not used anymore. And there's a trestle. And at that trestle, that's where we had a lot of activity, a lot of vocalizations, boulders thrown. And the ones down south seem to be a lot more aggressive than the ones up here. Screaming, ungodly vocalizations. The one night when I had the third encounter, that was in North Carolina. We went down to the trestle and we got underneath the trestle, underneath the bridge, and we sat on one side with the creek separating our side from the other side. So we heard bipedal footsteps in the bayou coming towards us. And all of a sudden I shine the light and I see eye shine. And believe it or not, we saw red eye shine and I saw blue eye shine. Which a lot of people, I've heard a few people say that about the blue eye shine. But anyway, one of them came up onto the bank, walked up the hill, and I lit him right up with the spotlight. And he minded his own business, though. I got to say that he was like a grayish silver. He was about, I'd say, about 8.5 feet tall. Not as about the same size as the female I saw up here. So I'm guessing they're a little bit, from reports I've taken and my own experiences, they're a little bit smaller down south. He walked up the hill and he turned and looked at us one time, and we saw his blue eyes, and he just walked away. Didn't pay us any mind. My daughter freaked out. She was young. She was 18 at the time, and she freaked out. But it was just wild. Just wild. The vegetation that he was walking through on the other side measured out at about 6 feet, and we saw him from the chest up. So I'm guessing, my guesstimation is about 8 feet. And to me, it had no breasts or anything. Plus it had a male presence about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was that third encounter. And that one was, it wasn't as intimidating as the other two, but like I said, down south, like, they do get more aggressive. Like, had boulders thrown, like I said, and, screaming at you hard from feet away, camouflage in the brush. And, we had one, I did a live session on Facebook one night, and I was in the swamp, and I'm filming all of this, and I found all sorts of tracks, anywhere from 13 inches to 18 inches, and they were right behind hog tracks. They were tracking the hogs through this part of the swamp. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a loop around. I'm going to see if I can get one to follow me. So I did a loop around, and all of a sudden, one of my research partners gets on. He goes, "Jeremiah, get out of there right now." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because when you turned your back, he stuck his head out from behind the tree and he glared at you in not a good way." So I said, "Okay, I'm out of here." I am out of here. But we used to find, broken hog bones all the time. What they'll do is, hogs and deer, they're ambush predators is what they are. They don't run down deer like everyone thinks they do. Through my experiences, I've never heard them about running down a deer. What they do is they'll ambush, break a leg or two, and then they'll break its neck. And we would find these hog leg bones all the time in that swamp, broken in half, clean break, snap. And another interesting thing is we would find turtle shells, like massive, big snapping turtle shells, cleaned right out from the inside. You know what I mean? Like something that stuck its hand in and pulled out all the guts, pulled the head off, pulled the tail off, the legs, everything. So it was just a shell with blood and mucus in after wound effect, inside the shell. So I'm guessing they eat, the turtles down there as well. I know they eat the deer and the hogs. But yeah, that was quite an experience to, experience something a little different than up north. It was different. It was different altogether. I found that people are a little more open to the idea of Sasquatch down south than they are in my area. So that one, that was pretty cool. You could talk about it more freely, and not that I care if people think I'm whacked anyway. I've been dealing with this 25 years and hearing the same thing for 25 years. So, maybe I am whacked. I don't know, but I know what I've seen and I know what I've experienced. So yeah, I mean, those are the three main encounters. And my mother has also seen one with a baby in the tree. She's actually got a picture of that. And it was a big one. It was a black one, and the baby was in the tree next to it, and it was also black. So a lot of people in my family have seen these things. And like I said, the ones on our property pretty much leave us alone, But I will say one thing. I know I told you I don't feed them, but what I do when I harvest a deer down there, I'll cut out an internal organ and leave it on the rock. So they can pick it up and do what they want with it. It's just something I've always done from day one. I'm not, not trying to irritate them, so leave them something. Leave them something. But yeah, it's quite a wild subject, and it's just it's wild. It's wild.
Where in North Carolina?
Do you know where New Bern is?
Yep. Yeah, because when you were saying the swamp area, and I was like, I have a feeling I know where that is. Yeah.
Yeah, eastern North Carolina.
Yeah, I live in Western North Carolina.
Oh, do you? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll tell you the town. I don't care. It's a little village called Vanceboro.
Yep. I know.
You know it?
I know of all that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yep. So that's a hot area, man, for different types of cryptids. I didn't know if you wanted me to get into. I mean, I've also had 2 dogman encounters. They frequent the land as well, but they down south. You hear about people seeing them together, hanging out together, being all friendly with each other. But up here, it doesn't work that way. The Sasquatch leave. They leave in November and they come back about April, beginning of May. And while they're gone during the winter, that's when the dogmen show up. I've actually got the last one I saw was in 2021. And I was down there and I just decided to go for a walk. I did bring a firearm with me. I brought a 12 gauge. And I looked to my left. It felt like something was staring at me. I looked to the left, and I'll be darned, there's a dogman, about 50 yards away, and it's standing there staring at me. But the weird part about it is, I guess not weird, but just it's shocking. It had its arms wrapped around a dead deer, and you can see I've got a picture of this, Todd. I can send you if you want after.
Yeah, definitely send it to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely will. You got to look at it close, but you can tell it's a dogman. It's not one of these. It's not a picture really, and you got to circle it and everything. You can see it. It's got a dead deer wrapped up in its arms, and in the picture you can't see that as well, but you can see the bowels of the deer on the ground. It was quite the sight, and it always made me wonder if that thing didn't have the deer, would I have been lunch? Which kind of crazy to think about.
You very well could have been.
Yeah, exactly. And I just started walking backwards, had the firearm ready just in case, but It didn't take its eyes off me. It moved its head and followed me with its eyes until I was out of sight, until we couldn't see each other anymore. But I'm glad I had that deer. I am glad I had that deer. And then my wife and I had an encounter too. This was also in 2021. This is really a different one. We were going home. We went to my parents for dinner, and we were on our way back home. And my wife kind of has a lead foot, so I said, "Stacey, you guys slow down, honey." I said, "You're gonna hit that thing on the side of the road." I thought it was a dude at first, and she says, "That's no dude, Jeremiah." She hit the brakes and she stopped. This thing jumped out in the middle of the road, turned, looked at us. He's about 30 feet away from the hood of the car. Looked at us. You could see the saliva and the blood caked around its mouth, and the saliva dripping from its mouth. It was brown. This one was brown. Long beak. It looked like a German Shepherd, an upright walking German Shepherd on steroids with long arms. That's exactly what it looked like. And I never believed in the dog man phenomenon for the longest time. For the longest time. Until I started, I partnered up my podcast partner, Nick Valente. He's president of the IDP, the International Dogman Project. I'm one of the directors. He's the one that finally convinced me they're real. These things are real. Just like there's different types of Sasquatch. I believe there's, just within the North America, I believe there's several types. You hear different descriptions, different builds. I mean, granted, they're not, like I said earlier, they're not all going to look alike, but like people, they're going to all look different, but they're part of the same group. So like for example, like I said before, the ones up here are different than the ones down south, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, yeah, this thing had turned, looked at us, and long arms. This thing was jacked. And if I had to guess a weight, I would have to say at least 500 pounds. The thing was massive. The thing was massive. And after a minute, it hit all fours, ran over to the other side of the road. And that was right onto our property, which I wasn't too happy about, but it is what it is. Yeah. And as far as the weight, I forgot to mention this before, but as far as the weight of the female Sasquatch, I would have to say, I think people, a lot of researchers underestimate the weight of these things. You ever heard of Robert Wadlow? He was the tallest man that ever lived. He was 8'11".
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was 8'11", 500 pounds, right? Okay. So if you're talking about an 8'11" Sasquatch, I mean, you hear people say on shows, "Oh, he was about 500 pounds." Well, if he was 8 foot, almost 9 feet, and Robert Wadlow was 8'11", weighed 500 pounds, I'd have to say the Sasquatch was built a little bit thicker, So if I had to guess, I would say she weighed about 800 pounds. Just a massive, massive creature. They're just enormous, and the athleticism is just incredible. That's what impresses me the most about these things, is the athleticism.
Lee, you're in North Carolina. What's your thoughts about the dog man?
Well, what I would like to know is, when the dog man stood up, did he have like an actual dog-shaped leg, or was it more human?
The legs?
Yes.
The legs were more human on this one.
Okay.
And I've taken other reports.
So they did.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so they bent at the knee, just like how ours do?
Correct. That is correct. But I've taken I've heard a lot of other people say, I've taken a lot of other reports where they have the reverse haunches like a dog,
Right.
But, I just like, there's my partner, Nick, he's been into the dog man thing for years now. Like he says, there's different types of dog men, just like there's different types of Sasquatch. Some of them have more of a build like a human, and some, as far as the legs go, and some, have the haunches like a dog.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. I mean, because you're absolutely correct. There is canine, and then there's hundreds of different versions of dogs and dog breeds. So that would make sense also for a dog man or dog people. Yeah, I would imagine. Yep. Same thing with Bigfoot. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like, any other, in biology, I mean, different types of tigers, different types of apes, it's just different types of different races of people.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
In Walmart's Huluville, everyone readied their cart. The early Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember are the 14th to the 16th of November. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
So yeah, it's just it's a very fascinating subject. Very fascinating subject.
And you also mentioned that the Dogman or the Dogman, whatever, were more prominent around that area of November through April, and then Bigfoot April through November.
That is correct.
Do you think that they're migratory?
Oh, that's a good question. I've thought about this for a long time. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I know they go somewhere. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how far they go, but I wouldn't know if I would call it actual migration. Maybe they just go, who knows? They could just go 15 minutes down the road and set up shop there,
because
so I don't know.
Because it'd be interesting if there were stories of more prominent Dogman sightings in a different area, say 200, 300 miles distance between April and November for Dogman,
yes,
and vice versa for Bigfoot.
Without a doubt, yes. Yep. For sure. Yeah, and just like the Dogman, I have no, like you were just saying, that'd be neat to discover that, but like I don't know where they go while the Bigfoot are around, So
right.
And I guess there's a lot of caves around here too in the Adirondacks. Mm-hmm. A lot of caves.
Yep.
So who knows? I've considered that possibility. They might go underground. They might go into caves for the winter. Who knows?
They could have dual citizenship.
What's that?
They could have dual citizenship. They could be Canadian and
that's right,
and American.
That's right,
you never know.
That's right, dual citizenship. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any paperwork involved with Bigfoots between themselves, but that's possible. Do they hibernate? Do you think?
Right.
If there's caves,
and I've considered that possibility too.
Bears do it, right?
Bears do it. Yeah, without a doubt.
To a degree.
Bears do it.
Bears don't go fully asleep.
Yeah, they get up and eat, right? But they lay in slumber like a lot. So, I mean, I don't know that for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not a bear.
Clearly, very clean shaven bear.
Lee, what else you got? What else you got for Jeremiah?
Yeah, you want to hear something crazy?
Okay.
Yeah. like what you've told us isn't crazy already.
I know, and I know it's very hard to believe that all this stuff has happened to me, but I'm a true God. I'll get into that in a second. Hold on.
I got a theory about that as well. Go ahead.
Okay. One night, my wife and I are down at the trestle, and we are on top of the bridge filming. Okay. We heard footsteps coming through the swamp, but we didn't see anything. We had our cameras and we were filming. We're filming, waiting for this thing to come out. And where it comes out first, a big orange orb, or a big blue orb. I got another video of an orange orb in it. Flew around a little bit, and about 30 seconds went by, and then it flew around again. I've got this all on video, Todd. I'm going to send you this too. So we were filming, and we didn't see anything. So we found that kind of weird. We could hear the footsteps underneath the bridge walking, So why didn't we, where was it? What was this thing? Where did it come from? What was it? Why didn't we see it? So we go home and we start analyzing the footsteps. We start analyzing the footage, and you'll never believe what we caught on camera. It was, oh God, here we go. It was a tall, skinny, reptilian-looking creature that was gray. It had its arms. It was carrying in its arms a dead wild boar.
And this was still in the New Bern area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that could be connected to the Bishopville Lizard Man. That's south of there.
Yep. I did think about that. But it blew my mind that we didn't see it, but we did, the cameras caught it. So I used to think that, and I'll send you that too, Todd, that video clip. I'll send you that, and I'll send you a still shot of it too.
Yeah, please.
You gotta look hard. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's that there's no doubt. It's a reptilian type creature.
We cannot wait.
Long arms, long fingers, and it's pretty wild. And after the footsteps had gone away, more lights came down out of the sky and flew around. And I used to think that Sasquatch, back to Bigfoot for a second, I used to think there was some sort of mountain ape. I went through that stage for about 10 years where I thought there was some sort of mountain monkey or primate or whatnot, but no, there's way, way more to it than that. I've experienced things around these creatures that cannot be explained, that just leave you in awe. I've taken some report, you hear about the mind speak. I've heard that. I never experienced that, but I've heard very credible people that I've interviewed that I've known for years, describe that to me. And all these, a lot of times, people will describe orbs and stuff coming out before and after or during a Sasquatch experience, or a dogman experience or any other type of cryptid, So I think there's way more to it than them being some sort of primate. What they are, I don't know. I have different theories. I just don't know. I think there's something in their own. I just think there's something in their own, and I think they may have some abilities that we just can't comprehend yet. And I never thought like that before, but after doing this for 25 years, you pick up on the little things, and these little things add up to the big things, and finally, these things are more than what people think they are. It's pretty, it's pretty crazy.
It's interesting that you bring up orbs and lights, because there's been other people on this podcast that have talked about orbs and lights as, before or after certain experiences happen.
Yes.
which then makes me go, okay, so then we'll go back to newborn Bigfoot, and I'm going to kind of put it into just North Carolina area. So if you've got the newborn there in November, the best time to see the Brown Mountain Lights in West North Carolina is October, November, December, and that is always orbs of some form or fashion. So
okay,
now I'm throwing some big ideas out here, but what if that could possibly be a sign of a migratory development there?
That's a good thought. I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one night we oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I was just go on.
One night we were at the Truffle, same spot, and again we saw eye shine walking through the swamp, but they went the opposite direction. All of a sudden, as we're walking out, it takes us about an hour to walk out, okay, of this area and get back to civilization. There was a big orange orb floats our direction. And it's about and I have a video of this too. I can send you if you'd like. It followed us around for about an hour on our way out, and it would get closer, and it would get bigger and smaller, bigger and smaller, bigger and smaller. And my wife was talking to it, and when she would talk to it, it would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when she'd stop, it'd get smaller again. So yeah, there's a correlation. There's got to be. There's got to be a correlation between some of these cryptids and these orbs. I just don't know how to explain it. I've seen it so many times that it's there's definitely more than some mountain eats. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, all paranormal things at some point have deals with orbs of some form. I mean, I'm a ghost hunter, and I constantly get the whole orb thing. And
yeah. My wife is a paranormal investigator by trade. She has some abilities. That's how she transferred from the paranormal field to the cryptid field when we got together. But she started out as a paranormal investigator, and that's actually helped a lot when it comes
to me. It's all paranormal.
What's that?
It's all paranormal to me. It's all umbrellaed.
Yeah. But yeah, it's wild, man. We're back up here now, and I haven't really been out. I broke my shoulder a few weeks ago, and I'm gonna have surgery on it. So I haven't been out as much as I'd like to be. But, I'll get back out there. They're about to leave soon anyway, so I'll just have to hit them up in the spring. I don't like going out there and looking for the dog man like people do. My opinion, I think they're dangerous. They're dangerous. I interviewed a guy who was charged by one, and he has them on his property in Texas, and one of the dog men is a rogue. Okay. He's got a family of dog men on his property, but one of them doesn't belong to that family. One of them is a rogue. So it started to charge him one day, and he had a 10mm on him, and he shot, and it hit it in the face. And all it did was its face flew back a little bit. It took that 10mm bullet to the head, and he calls him Scar now because he's got a big scar across his face from that bullet. And then one other day he was outside and he was working, and he said, I decided to start carrying my AR-15 after that. Because who knows what kind of weapon will put these things down, a Sasquatch or a dog man. We don't know anything about them, really. We don't know how thick. I mean, they're muscular, very muscular, that's for sure. But who knows how thick their bone density is? What kind of round would it take to penetrate that? So he said, I was looking for soft tissue. So he got down on one knee as it was charging him on two legs, and he shot. special spot, if you know what I mean. And it hit the ground, and he said it did just what a coyote does. When a coyote gets wounded, it'll bite at the wound, you know. And that's what this thing did. We started biting at that area and rolling around in the dirt, and it again got up and ran away. But he hasn't had any more trouble with that one after that. And I can't blame the dog man for that. I wouldn't want to get shot there either.
You know what? Something crazy that you mentioned, and then we'll wrap this up here, gentlemen, after this here. But you know how they talked about you have to use silver bullets to kill a werewolf, right?
Yeah.
Not the lead bullets. And we've talked to people before who've actually shot both these creatures, and they say that, you know, if you shoot them in the body, it's like it just kind of bounces off them or doesn't affect them. I wonder if they're so dense that lead, you know, lead's softer than you think.
Oh, absolutely.
With that kind of velocity, you know, maybe it just doesn't penetrate. Maybe silver would. I don't know the density of silver.
Right.
Is it denser than lead? I think it is.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Maybe that's where that comes from. I don't know. I'm reaching out.
Maybe.
I'm reaching way out there.
No, all theories are good, man. You know,
maybe that's
we
why.
just don't know a lot about these things yet. So all theories that are thrown out there, in my opinion, are good theories.
And maybe they're kind of the truth. Maybe that's where these theories come from.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know if you guys have anything else for Jeremiah, but Lee, you got anything else tonight?
No, I got my notes.
Okay.
No, we're good.
You go by Jeremiah.
Thank you. Those are some great encounters.
It doesn't matter. You can call me what you want, Todd. Jeremiah, J, either or. Doesn't bother me.
Well, man, it was awesome having you on the show, and we appreciate
awesome being here. You guys do a great show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, we know you and your buddy Nick do a podcast. Why don't you give a shout out for that? What do you guys do?
Nick and I, okay. Yeah, Nick, we do 2 shows. We have one called On the Trail in Search of Living Legends. Now, that is the show where we interview witnesses that have experienced phenomena like Bigfoot, Dogman, reptilians, been abducted by spacecraft, anything. You know, we interview, you know, people that have had experiences. That's our main show. And then we have another show that we haven't actually done in a couple of months. It's called the Cryptid Consortium. And what we do is we pick a different cryptid every week, like a lesser known cryptid. And each one of us will study it during the week before the show. Then we'll get on the show and we'll discuss that cryptid. And then the last part of the show, we give our opinion on whether we think it is a real creature or not.
Oh, cool, man. Very cool.
Yeah, so they're pretty cool shows. Yeah,
awesome.
And
where can people find those?
Right on my YouTube channel. It's called Paranormal Cryptid and Crossroads Research.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here with us, brother. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on. I had a great time.
Us too,
it's our pleasure, man.
If you see something else, make sure you reach out to us and let us know.
Yeah, let us know for sure.
Will do, and I'll send those pictures right now.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah,
not a problem.
Lee, I'll send those to you too, brother.
Please.
All right, Lee, hang out with us. Thanks again, Jeremiah. We appreciate it, man.
All right, not a problem. Appreciate it.
Yep, have a good night.
You too, guys.
Thanks for being here with us tonight, Lee, and being a guest host.
Yeah, man. Always
Thanks for
fun.
being a Patreon on the Bigfoot level. And to the listeners, if you guys want to hang out like Lee did tonight, you guys can sign up on our Patreon for the Bigfoot level as well. Lee, we're looking forward to seeing you in November, brother, before Thanksgiving.
That's right.
There.
Just a little over a month.
Crypticon coming up. They're in Lexington, Kentucky. As we said, the Clarion Convention Center. So November 22nd, 23rd.
Yep,
that is correct. Yep.
So we'll probably be neighbors again. We're always right beside each other as well.
More than likely.
Yeah. Can't wait. So looking forward to that. Thanks again, Lee, for being with us tonight, man.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys.
We'll get you back on soon.
Thanks, Lee.
Take care, buddy.
Later, taters.
See ya. All right, man. Awesome having the those guys on. It was great talking to Jay, Jeremiah, whatever he goes by there, and about his encounters and not only Bigfoot but dog.
Yeah, those were pretty good. Yeah, that was exciting.
And cool.
Always
Lee
fun to
on.
hear, especially the dog mans.
I know we do like the dog man, even though he terrifies us. But
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and having Lee on too, hanging out with us tonight. So
Yep, that's always fun talking to Lee.
yep. Said you guys, if you want to be able to do that with us, check out our Patreon on the Bigfoot level, and just search us on our cryptid creatures, and you'll be able to find us. So.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Brad, my friend. Cool hanging out with you as always, brother.
Always fun, brother. Always learning.
All right, let's take off. What do you say?
Yep. See ya.
Footsteps in the hollow dark, trees whisper names I can't remark. Eyes in the branches glowing white, something's watching out of sight. Echoes of a beast, is it real or a game? Every shadow calling my name. I'm chasing shadows, chasing ghosts through the woods where the legends boast. Monsters hide, truth or lies, show me the cryptids under the skies. Cracks in the mud, they twist and turn. A broken branch, a fire that burns. Howls in the distance, low and deep. A secret the mountain swore to keep.